What's going on, everybody? It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional, alongside my co-host,
Mikey Fever. I'm behaving tonight.
and this is this is a New Yorker's perspective. We got legendary Moorish Canaan Land Moore, Cujo L in the building.
Yep.
And we got brother Yusuf. What does that say?
Mutadi.
Madadi,
Mutadi L.
Madadi L in the building with us today. I like that shirt, Bob Marley. I like
Yeah.
this shirt
So we
right there.
did more good things.
Hey, so today we're talking about exposing hidden corruption in grassroots organization. Keep in mind that listen, we're not doing this to disrespect anyone or anything like
Never.
this.
Never.
It's just we've all been involved in the community for a number of years, and we see there are some holes in the in the cracks there, I guess you would say.
Ambulance chasers.
It could be from like a Maison ambulance chaser uh,
Sharpton.
to just with all due respect, older brothers out there and sisters who may not be up to date with what's going on with the youth, and there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect there, and they're not getting to the youth, and it causes the movements or the community to be stagnated because that gap is it's a gap. It's a gap. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to brother Cujo and Yusuf, and maybe chime in on what I just said right now. What do you think about what I just said?
Well, first of all, honors to NYP Talk Show
Thank you,
for
sir.
always
Thank
having
you.
the platform open for minds to get open. Because it's a lot of work we have to do with regard to our people's mind. Oh yeah, and shout out to Dr. Dyer also, because he
Yes.
was killing it. He was killing it.
Yeah, he was, man. Dr. Dyer
He
knows.
was killing it. He was killing it. One of the things that he brought up relative is what he was talking about, unwinding the confusion,
Right.
right? And going back to that same thing that it's confusion why there's this disconnect with the generations. You know what I mean? And the confusion is not wanting to inner under overstand each other. Right now, I'm from the 70s generation, so we get together with all the different generations because that's our generation. You know what I mean? We don't got issues with the old and then the new ones and all that. We can get along on all the different realms. What we've come to the realization is that in all these different realms, there's this element of the trader or the sellout, which is what the issue is. Why there isn't the continuum, the generational wealth not getting passed. The what this is what it is. There's this element of characters
Yes, sir.
in all the different generations who take the side of being the traitor. Or being the arch deceiver, or being the confuser, or being and that's what we're up against.
The butler that shines cutlery.
Yeah.
Orders.
Right.
Now, see, when you were saying sellout all this time. Pardon me, y'all. It's getting hot in here.
It's all good. it's the subject matter.
So I've been saying, like, okay, cool. Like every time you talk, not every time, but as I'm getting to know Cujo, it's like sellout, the sellouts. I'm like, why does he keep talking about sellouts? Like in my mind, a sellout is someone who is like blatantly selling out, right? Like they're blatantly selling out. But now I'm realizing, like, it's a lot of it is actually not blatant. And you have to be able to see what a sellout is. Like, for instance, right? If you would allow something to happen under your watch because you're trying to protect your position, right? You're trying to protect your position, so you allow something to happen. That's technically a sellout,
Mhm.
right? So now I'm kind of seeing, not kind of, I see what you're saying now. So if you could like uh um expound on how you see what a sellout is, so we can fully understand.
Exactly. Before you go, Kuja, just like AYB More Ibn said, that little 1 day boycott.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a
So
sellout move.
yeah, it's a psyop.
Yeah.
No, just to see how do we really have them? Do we got them? Do we got them on the? Do we got them, or do we have to go harder? You know what I mean? And in majority of the cases, all they got to do is dangle the whatever they got our people. And again, it's because of the sellout. You know, brother Yusuf, I don't know if you have anything to add before we go on.
Before we go, brother Yusuf, can you just give me a detailed description of how you see what a sellout is, brother Cujo?
I see it in two. There's two sides. I see it as the ones who went against Noble Drew Ali, and then the ones who went against Noble Drew Ali's teachings. Those are the ones that's to the forefront as far as the sellouts that need to be identified or called out for me.
Now, to be fair, right? Because now, I'm trying to really be a journalist here nowadays. So, so to be fair, now when you say Noble Drew Ali's teachings, and not to put you on the spot, but since we're talking about it, when Noble Drew Ali says, to make, when I don't know, I forgot the exact quote was over this, when he talks about, speaking out against other organizations, and we're for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and things like that. You yourself, you speak out against other organizations, and you you give people fire. And I would say that doesn't go with the prophet's teachings, if you will. Now, how do you see that?
Well, let me just get the reference. So we're talking about divine constitution and bylaws.
Yes, sir.
Which is our info, our literature.
Yes, sir.
And if the organizations are living by the principles, I don't have any issues with them. So we're supposed to live by the principles. If there's a standard that we're supposed to follow, then I would say that's a pretty simple standard to follow. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Once you're living by those, you shouldn't have any issues with anybody. Now, what happens then if they're not living by those principles? Or do they still qualify as organizations we shouldn't talk about?
I see what you're saying. So justice.
Right? And like I said, if these principles aren't carried out, then justice will take its course. Unfortunately, justice is me calling out these people who might have been talking crazy, doing crazy. Nobody said anything about them for years, so they just figured they could do this thing, whatever it is that they're doing. And then now, I'm going to call them out, and now they want to bring up divine constitution, and I'm violating something. Or Noble Drew Ali said, don't do that. But when these people were fondling or doing whatever they were doing, nobody's calling them out for their BS. So it's really doing it to grind their gears. Right? Because I know without a shadow of a doubt that Noble Drew Ali called out the sellouts. And Noble Drew Ali called out organizations and people who were doing BS. They didn't get any passes because he was around, or he's the prophet or whatever like that. You know, he called them out to their face.
Yeah.
He called them out to the point where they tried to kick him out of his own movement that he founded. You know what I mean?
Now, can you expound on that a little bit? So they try to. We already know there was some riff, right? Like, I don't want to, me personally, speak too much in detail on that in particular, because I don't know the details, and how people are on the internet or in these organizations is, if you get one thing wrong,
Oh yeah,
that'll be the thing that they pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you know this era in the movement better than I do, which I'm sure you do, can you give a brief summary of what happened between the Moors and the Prophet at that time?
If we go to Noble Drew Ali's death certificate, and it says he died of tuberculosis, right? But he has the remedy to cure anything that you weren't born with. Somebody must have doctored the papers, and then you have to ask, well, who was in charge? Who had jurisdiction over the death certificate to even put that on there? You know, but I yield, because I know Brother Yusuf had some points with regard to that. That he could bring up, just to going back to the thing that you're saying about, you know, sort of the backdrop to why certain people were against Noble Drew Ali or whatever.
Right. Now, Brother Yusuf, before you go in, you know, expound upon that, just give me a brief history of who you are and things like that for people to get to know you.
Islam.
Islam.
Give thanks, Brother NYP, for y'all platform, and
Thank
you know, all the information y'all do, the research, like you said, you getting up on your journalism. So I appreciate the journalistic, you know what I mean, efforts that y'all putting through right now for this information for our people. I appreciate that big time, big time. Islam.
Thank you.
My brother Yusuf, you know, I came under the green sheet, you know, just learning about Moors through RV Bay Publications, Taj, you know, Brother Hakeem Bey, you know, the Moor All-Stars. It's the same Moor, just studying. Of course, getting the Prophet's teachings, studying his teachings for years. This I think I'm going 10 plus now, strong with the information or whatnot. So, you know, just very happy to know that, you know, nationality is the order of the day, you know, and it's a good time to be a Moor, you know, it's a great time to be a Moor. I'm fiending to get this information now. I'm sorry, NYP, you threw me off guard with the introduction for myself. Yeah, but if I could just dive right in real quick, because you have said earlier too, I'm gonna go in on that. What is a sellout? And you know, Moors, we love definitions, right? So when we look at the word sellout is a general term, you know, slang. We're not talking, you know, scholarship when we use the term sellout. That's not a term we can use in law. You know what I mean? So in law, what we're looking at is the people who are committing treason. So we can't just say a sellout. We want to get to it lawfully, because like I always tell Morris, I'm very passionate about my people, you know? So like, I want the words to be exact. These people are committing treason. When we say sellout, I almost feel like, yeah, this is gonna go away in a couple minutes. Like, we're gonna talk about this and it's gonna go away. But when you say, yo, this is treason, these people are literally, you know, committing crimes against our people, you know, genocide, and participating in genocide against our people by doing these treasonous acts, which we call sellout. And y'all was talking about it earlier, the part of people not knowing if they you know, you could be selling out and not be conscious of your selling out activity.
Right.
I remember years ago, Mother Roz, Mother Anna Need teaching, you can be selling out knowingly or unknowingly.
Right.
That was the most scariest thing I've ever heard. To be selling out unknowingly, like that was dangerous to me. Like to hear that, I was like, that was more scarier than the person who's selling out and know he's selling out, because he don't even know what he's doing. He think he's doing the right thing, he or she. You know,
Right.
so that was actually terrifying to hear that. Like, dang, man, somebody can really be out here committing treason and not knowing they committing treason. Like that was scary to me. So I really was like, wow, like something's really going on with this selling out stuff. And when you started talking about the backdrop in the like you said, like, because we all want to know, yo, where is this coming from? How is this starting? The Grand Sheik went in a little bit, you know, they dingle a little bit of something in front of our people and we jump on it and we sell out. But it was, you know, it's a lot of stuff. Power, you know, so-called power, so-called I want to be the first, I want to be, look at me, you know, and plus you know, all of that stuff that comes with going against your people. And that's something that I was like, wow, man, people can really be like that. You know, that was the part that would mess me up, just so we can play this hierarchy.
Brother, listen, brother, I'm gonna let you cook. But yo, we are right now, we are one. me and you. Go ahead. Yes,
yeah.
Point. Kick it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I really see, you know, like, oh, you're not really in this to help me or my child or my son, my daughter, my people. You just want to be the first one. You just want to be the guy that whatever it is, you know what I mean, right or wrong, you just want to do it so you can be the guy. And
exactly,
that's starting to lead to treasonous activity. People backstabbing other Moors, people undermining, creating packages, selling birthrights. It's a ongoing treasonous thing because of this gratification of this. Look at me. Grand Sheik always talk about it too. The look at me people. Look at me. Look at me. He even made a song perfect called the Look at Me. It was one of the best songs I ever heard. Great, because everybody's on this look at me, and that look at me is causing treason. Now, when you talked about the origin of the sellout and Noble Drew Ali in the temple,
yes,
and what Grand Sheik talked about, the death certificate, the tuberculosis, that's major. So when we look at that and the sellout that was around that, the death certificate, on the death certificate, Moors know the death certificate was signed by Aaron Payne, so-called Noble Drew Ali's lawyer. Moors today already know, are looking at that like, how Noble Drew Ali have a lawyer? We questioning that off rip. And then Aaron Payne said, when they say Noble Drew Ali died from tuberculosis, Aaron Payne had a brother named Clarence Payne. Clarence Payne was a doctor. Guess what he was a doctor in? Tuberculosis.
What?
Thank you, Moore.
Nah, yo, say that one more.
Thank you, Moore. Thank you, Moore. Thank you, Moore.
Aaron Payne was the
Aaron
lawyer
Payne
of Noble Drew Ali, right?
Thank you. Yep.
His brother, Clarence Payne, was a doctor who specialized in tuberculosis. Now you know, I gotta research this now.
Thank you. Now, Moore, I'm gonna give you another one. Now, this Clarence Payne, he had his own, you know, I don't want to say a hospital clinic, you know, little clinic thing, organization going on with his own doctors and whatever, Clarence Payne. And mind you, this is 1920s, 1930s, early. Y'all, we don't even have our own doctor things now. You know what I'm saying? Like, as our people. So this man having his own doctor place, hospital place, Clarence Payne, say, I forgot what month it was that Noble Drew Ali was assassinated, but let's say it was January. When the prophet died in January, let's say January, Clarence Payne's hospital got a donation of $1 million in February.
Oh, wow.
Who donated to Clarence Payne Hospital $1 million the next month after Noble Drew Ali died? Who gave him that money?
Aaron Payne?
No. Julius Rosenwald. You got to see. This is the Rockefellers, Julius Rosenwald, the whole lineup of who these people were getting funded. That's why the sellout is deeper than just because you can name the names, you can follow like they say, follow the money. Claude, it was a lot of stuff. So you got Aaron Payne, Claude, Clarence Payne. Then you got the Green guy. It was a Grand Sheik. It was a Grand Sheik named Green. He was the head of his own temple around the prophet's time as well. As the prophet is alive, he's telling Moors, stop sending Noble Drew Ali your finance.
Okay, hold on. You say that again. You just went off.
He was telling the other temples, stop sending their finance to the prophet and to send him the prophet, send him the money. This dude, Green, comes to find out he was Julius Rosenwald was the owner of Sears and Roebuck's, millionaire in Chicago at this time. He's the one. Green is his personal driver. Green was working for Julius Rosenwald. He was his personal driver. Julius Rosenwald had his own temple. Guess who got Julius Rosenwald? Green had his own temple. He was the Grand Sheik of his own temple. Guess who bought Green his own temple? Julius. Thank you. And he's the guy telling everybody, stop sending their finance to the prophet and send him the money.
So now what would be the motive though? See, I'm unaware of exactly how much money was the Noble Drew Ali's estate in the temple and all of that in the movement. How much money did he make? You know what I'm saying? Because what would be the motive for them to possibly kill the prophet?
Well, they say millions back then.
But you got to understand, when the prophet said, I now proclaim you a nation, he literally when they said he bankrupted them, it was over. Once he said, y'all Moors, that means everything was ours. Everything was supposed to be ours. It was supposed to be set in stone. We were supposed like they were like, well, how much money? No, we were supposed to be collecting taxes. We the IRS. How much money? We the government. When he said he gave us our stuff back. No, everything was ours. Everything was supposed to go through the Moors. It was supposed to be set up. He was setting it up like that. The sellouts ruined everything. The treasonous acts that happened ruined everything. Everything. We should be supposed to be. Why are the indigenous people paying taxes to foreigners? Why? Because we saying we Negro, black, and colored. We not even indigenous people. How'd that happen? Who started that? And all of these people came out of these Greek fraternities, which came around the first Greek fraternal order, 1904. Prophet comes on the scene, 1908, 1913, 1921. All of this starts coming around same time Noble Drew Ali.
Because connection.
All in fraternity. Yeah, and they knew it. They knew the prophet was coming. So they started making them Greek fraternity organizations. Steve Coakley tell you all about all of that. And we all know that. Steve Coakley break it down perfectly. Yep. He breaks down that stuff perfectly. And them members of the Boule Greek fraternity order were in the Moorish Science Temple. All of that, you can be in 5, 6, 7 different types of organizations back in the 1920s, 1930s.
Mhm.
That was you can just be in that. So they wasn't looking, but when they found out what they didn't know what the prophet had did, they was just looking at him like he was just a regular guy. Oh yeah, we could just join this organization. They look like they're doing something prosperous. They didn't know
waiting
that.
for Jesus, waiting for Jesus.
Exactly. But when they found out what he was through their handlers had to break down and tell, yo, you got to get rid of this man. He's ruining everything. You once we said we was Moors, that's the big no word. Everything's ours. How you real estate? We the real estate agents. How you selling houses on our land and we ain't getting a cut? How is that happening? No, Mujur set all that up once he said we was Moors.
Now, I want you to expound upon that, just in case we have viewers on here that don't really know much about. Not I wouldn't say much, but some viewers they view and they don't know a whole lot, or whatever the case may be. They might know bits and pieces. But you say that the Moors, when the Prophet Noble Ali came with his program, basically he was a threat. Who was he a threat to, and why?
So on the people on the scene at this time, so this would be the so-called British oligarchy at this time, Cecil Rhodes, and the circle within the circle, and those offshoots, the CFR, Council on Foreign Relations, all those offshoot, all of those offshoots that became so-called government building programs, but were always based off of a fraternal order, secret society that was started with modern Europeans, and they helped fund all of these NAACP, Urban League, anything you name. Every HBCU college,
colleges,
every one of them. I don't care what it is. There's never been any so-called Black organization to have any of their own finance to back anything that has anything to do with some qualified government thing. Like Steve Copley said, y'all never had any jobs that can take fingerprint of your own employees. You never had any jobs that was asking modern Europeans for their social security number. We never created none of these venues. We always give them our fingerprint. We always give them that social security number. We don't have none of those things set up for them to give us their information. We don't have that. They ruined all of that, more. They ruined the other. It's very frustrating because it's a lot of stuff that you gotta add in, and we just fast forward it, and I don't want to miss something.
Keep in mind, we're gonna do like a series of these. So you can take your time. If you don't get to all your points, that is fine. If you do anything, don't look at the chat, because that's how you get screwed up. Right?
I can't even see the way we said. I can't even see it. All I see is y'all.
I'm glad. Yeah. So now, because I thought you were like looking at the chat, and that was.
No. I got some notes, Lord. I got some notes. Okay. Old school.
So now to really back. So basically, who would what would be the motive to kill off the prophet, right? And then you took us to the oligarchs, right?
Those were the ones who threw them off, but it was nationalism that was going to get us like El Hajj said, Malcolm X, El Hajj, he said it wasn't it wasn't I forgot, but it was nationalism.
It wasn't civil rights you was talking about,
right? That got us. It was nationalism that so they know. Even El Hajj knew. Like you said, for those people in the chat who may not know how nationalism or nationalizing things work, like in what's that in South America, the place with a V, what's it called?
Venezuela.
Venezuela. They nationalized.
Yeah.
Venezuela nationalized. They nationalized their gold. That's their gold now. They got that's their stuff because they nationalized their land. They said this is our shit. This ain't got nothing to do with no modern Europeans. Once they nationalized it and said that this is us as a people. Them gold mines overnight became they shit. They didn't have to.
Okay,
move.
pardon me. So now being that hold on. So people in the chat, thank you for chiming in. Great. I haven't been on this thing in like 2-3 weeks, so I forgot how it gets on the chat. But look,
You gotta ignore it.
Yeah, you gotta ignore it because we're getting somewhere here. If you didn't realize, you gotta just follow the conversation. So now, brother, you're basically saying that they had to kill him, right? Because he threatened the hierarchy, the caste system.
There you go.
Oligarchs.
The caste system, I would say for America, in America right now.
Right.
He did the same. He represented the same threat as Marcus Garvey.
Absolutely.
Upliftment.
That's why they got together. That's exactly why they got together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly why they murdered both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
They murdered Garvey's credibility.
Yep.
And they murdered Noble Drew Ali.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Now, what they were dealing with at that time, see, this is why we have to discuss sellouts on a continuous basis to identify who are the sellouts, whether it be they're conscious of it or unconscious of it. Here's why. Because we had Marcus Garvey. Let's take it back. We had Selassie. Even before that, we already know we had great kings and all that. But people that I remember right now: Selassie, Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, the Nation of Islam. We got the 5% Allah, with Malcolm X, Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale. All of these great leaders and minds. And then at a certain point in time, it all just stopped around the 70s and 80s.
Fear, colonialization, mental, the sellout's been around forever, even into biblical times with Judas. The sellout will always be there. You know why? Crab in a bucket mentality. It can't be you. You never heard that saying, it's not what you say, is who it's coming from? We could say the same thing right now, right? We could be on the platform saying all this. People have a problem with the fact that it's coming from us. But if it's somebody else, and I hate to bring color into it, if it's a European saying, then it's golden, it's the gospel. Our people hate the lack of self-love. We tend to hate one another for trying.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. And again, it's not here to take down these so-called, these grassroots organizations, but it's come to show you the outcome. You know what I'm saying? What they produce. I don't see them really fighting.
What they produce, the outcome. That's what I'm talking about, brother. This is what I'm saying. If we had all of these great leaders up until 1970, 1980, and it just completely it's stopped.
It's fear. It's fear.
No, that can't just be fear, brother. Fear has to be one thing.
No, it is fear. Let me say why it's fear.
If y'all can name 5 things, what would it be?
All right, I'm gonna say number one is
identify them.
It's fear, jealousy, ego, greed, and envy.
What was that fourth one? What was that fourth one?
Jealousy, envy. The fourth one, jealousy, envy. Because let me tell you why. And I'm gonna keep it real. It's no shade towards the Nation of Islam. We know that the CIA and others were involved in Malcolm's death, but it took a black man's finger to pull the trigger.
He told y'all that. He said
you get what I'm saying? The same thing with other leaders, and from the time, like I said, biblical time, from Jesus and other places, it's always your people that would do it because they will be put in fear. Say if an oppressor comes to them and say, "I'll off your whole family," they'll be like, out of that fear, I'd rather him go out instead of my family. You understand what I'm saying? They don't have that heart
So
to die
guess
for your brother.
what? That's the whole point. So all five,
Yeah.
that brings about the sellout.
Yeah.
Right.
That creates the sellout. If
Mhm.
you are for the people,
Mhm.
from where I come from, if you're a revolutionary type like I am,
Mhm.
whatever gotta happen. But the people have to, they gotta live. We gotta grow our bloodline has to go into the future. We have to do better, even if it costs my life. So
Right.
that's what I'm talking about. If my thing is, if the people aren't the most important, but of course yourself first, right?
Mhm.
Because self-preservation, you got to make sure you live to help anyone else, right? It's
Important.
yourself in your community, right?
Mhm.
If you're not willing to die for this, in how I see it, to me, you're automatically a sellout.
Of course, this is sellouts. Let me tell you what it is too, brother. It's as we said, these people died. Nobody pick up the torch. Everybody loves to see the rebel, but they will not die with the rebel. They be like, yeah, I do that, but behind closed doors, they be like, yo, that is crazy. You think I'm gonna go out there and fight that? And man, I don't know what else to say, man. At this moment, nobody has that heart anymore. You see what we doing, Cujo's doing. They always put themselves out in the front line. You know what I'm saying? Unfiltered. Our people, to be revolutionaries nowadays, it's a fad. It's a trend to look good.
I don't even think it's a fad. It's not even a fad anymore.
It is a trend because let me tell you, there's some brute dudes that come online. They'll talk all that nice stuff. Our people cannot get together, man. Right now, we're divided by politics. We don't see the same goal. Like as Malcolm said, leave your politics outside, leave your religion outside. What's the goal? We can't get that. We can't get along. You see it online. Our people divided by Democrats, Republican,
That's for
Trump,
sure.
Kamala.
That's for sure.
But this is why.
Aaron, Royal Son, I don't think anyone in the chats are ready to die. You don't know that, man. Aaron Hunt, are you willing to love for your people? Of course. We really got to learn to love. It's not natural. It's not a natural thing. It seems like maybe from a mother to her son, but that's it. And even that's limited.
Yeah, that has to stop. We got
Okay,
the community. Our
I,
children are one.
I think we're getting into this back to Paul Dyer. I think we're getting into this program of the way the conversations we have about each other, right? It's like, oh, our people are not doing this and our people are not doing that. Well, we're trying to figure out, we're trying to identify who exactly in the sellouts is the point of it all. So who are the sellouts? We identify who the sellouts are. The sellouts are people who know they're selling out and people who don't know they're selling out. And then we have 5 characteristics that create a sellout, right? We identify those, right? Now, my question is, what Cujo is doing is constantly calling them out, right? He's like the only person really doing this. Okay. Now, how do we assist him? Right? Because Cujo is going to be Cujo. That's his personality. But now, how do we assist Brother Cujo in this work that he's doing? Do we sit back and we just let him do it all by himself, or how do we assist him? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out how do we identify the sellouts, and what do we do with the sellouts once we figure them out? Because so now imagine there are millions of sellouts. There are millions of sellouts. Cujo is one man taking on millions of sellouts.
Let me add on. Me and the Grand Sheik was building earlier, right? Just to show that there is some promise. So I was telling the Grand Sheik, same things. We're building on the same thing. The sellouts, but do we see a change coming with some help somewhere? So I have a 16-year-old son, right? I'm traveling, bringing them to school, and we see the license plates. You know, as soon as you see the license plate, I point at it. I said, yo, what's that? What's that right there? And he goes, oh, he a Freemason. I said, oh, what that mean? He against us. 16.
Mm-hmm.
16. I told the Grand Sheik, I said, yo, I said, what they use, those words, even the YNs know that them symbols right there, they the
well,
oh,
listen,
that's the
well, here's the thing.
I'm a Mason.
Here's the thing, Yusuf, brother Yusuf. I'm following you. Trust me, right? We see eye to eye on the majority of what you're saying right now, and I completely understand your building, how you're building. However, if you tell your son that, you're giving your son misinformation, because you have Masons that are actually good people, really good people. That
no. Now, I didn't say nothing about the person.
You saying like the entire, you're talking about the entire organization though, but have you
That's
ever,
what I'm talking about.
Have you
That's
ever,
what I'm like, okay, for instance, more
real quick.
McDonald's is a horrible organization, but the people who work there, I ain't got no problem with the person that work at McDonald's.
Okay, let me ask
McDonald's,
you.
McDonald's is horrible.
Real quick. Have you ever been a Mason?
No. Like, hold on. Let me change my answer. You're gonna have to ask that, but I don't know what you mean by that. Like a Mason, like by his.
Have you ever gone into a Masonic organization to see what it is, to understand what this thing is about? Okay. So I always say this on my podcast. If you've been on our podcast, pardon me, Mikey.
Yeah, good.
If you watch our podcast, I always say this. I went into Masonry to see what it was all about. I saw what was in there, and I turned back around, right? Because I was probably a part of the wrong lodge. So it's just like more science, right? So if Morris Science has many different organizations, you can't, and some of them are bad apples, you can't just call out the whole organization and say the whole organization of the Moorish movement is a bad movement, because that would be incorrect.
No. That's what I'm saying. McDonald's was built on its foundation to be wrong. Scottish Rite Freemasonry was built to be wrong. And any offshoot subsidiaries off of that are wrong. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Its origin wasn't built for this. Like there's so-called police officers. Like people say, oh, there's good police officers. But police, that thing was made for wrong. So how can he might be a good guy, but the police stuff was made for wrong. McDonald's was made for wrong. Scottish Rite Freemasonry was made for wrong. That's what I'm saying. It might be people who are in it that are good people, but in its origins, how it was made, it wasn't made to help. Oh, we're going to prove that this is Morocco at the end. No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Are you talking about the Scottish Rites that we know, that the mainstream one, like this founded in a tavern and all that stuff? You talking about that Scottish Rite?
The one that was
in England, because from Scotland Yard. All right.
Yep.
Based on their history, as we was going to say, the school of thought itself, masonry itself, right? If people strip away from what we know about Illuminati and all that stuff, it started out in Egypt. We know that. It's all Kemetic science. You understand? So, of course, even within our own culture, we have a few rotten apples. You get what I'm saying? As Ron was saying, some people will emulate what you have. They will take it from us, because I always tell people, they could say the mainstream thing, but I know that my birthright is as a builder. Just as you are more in the gods, I know this came from my people that look like me. So I don't buy into that, and I get it, because before I used to be like, I don't rock with Masons, this and that, and look where I find myself in the lodge. You get what I'm saying? It's a call, but as Ron said, the institution itself will defend itself. But not all individuals in there are rotten based on what a few.
No, I ain't got no problem with
one good individual.
Yeah, nah, of course, I don't take offense to that.
The problem
Like,
that I have,
some of the-
Brother Yusuf, the problem that I have with what you said was you told your son that. You get what I'm saying? Now, to me, that would further perpetuate issues and discourse. Because
Let me
get to my point. Hold on, brother. Let me get to my point. Let me land. So what I'm saying is, like, okay, you're telling your son this. Your son is going to listen to his dad because his dad is the hero. He is the God in the family, right? So whatever dad says goes. So now your son, he's going out into the world and looking at all Masons now as bad people, when it could be he could meet someone that could possibly change his life. You know what I mean? Or that could change his life and his whole family life. So it's kind of like you kind of like block him in life with that thought. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I want to say.
Now let me add on to that, right? I'm glad you said that part. Right? I don't want to punish me and my son for what some man signed up or some woman signed up for. It's not my fault that they signed up for a bad organization. That's a bad organization that they signed up for. My son is correct. I'm correct by saying that's a bad organization. I'm not getting punished, or my son getting punished, because the individual signed up for the bad organization. That's a horrible organization. They've committed crimes against my people from its inception. And that organization is built to make sure we don't know that this place is Morocco. That's what it's for. That's prove me wrong. Show me where some temple is out there showing that this is Morocco, that we're Moors, that we're Moors, and that this is Morocco. Because that's the main point. And that's why I said I don't got no problem with the people, because I know for a fact, if it wasn't for Freemasons that were within the lodge, I wouldn't, half of those tapes that we see of Steve Coakley, we wouldn't even see. Those were Freemasons that paid for Steve Coakley to make those lectures. But those were good brothers.
Okay.
Those were good brothers. The lodge didn't put the money up to get Steve Coakley in there. The brothers did. That brother, that specific, and for instance, Steve Coakley even talked about when he meets other brothers that are in the lodge and they teach him the secret handshake, how other brothers in the lodge jump up on that other brother. Why is that? Why is that? If we're so on the same team, why can't we know all the secrets? Teach me the handshakes. Why can't we know them? If we on the same side, you for me, you love me, show me the secret handshakes. Show me all that secret shit y'all be doing behind closed doors. Tell me the ritual that y'all do to sign up for everything. If we all the same people, that's what I'm saying. That's why Grand Sheik, no, Brother Yusuf's very passionate about this. Like, he do not play when it comes to his people. Because I'm like, yo, all right, we good, we cool. Show me the handshake. Show me the handshake. And that's why I know it get uncomfortable. You know what I mean? That's why I be just chilling more. I be Grand Sheik, no, but it be relaxing, because I be ready. I be on their backs. I be on their backs. That's why I'm like, I know what them people are. I know what them organizations are. I know what they are.
I want to.
I don't know. You probably missed some bad ones, bro.
I want to keep it. I want to keep it on topic, because I think that's the name of this. We're a bit off topic. We're a bit off topic, but we're really not. It's kind of like,
yeah, it's all relative.
No, that's the same thing. Because
now hold on, Brother Yusuf. Me and you, we're the same people. Trust me. I'm just reserved because we got to run this podcast now. Brother Yusuf, totally get you. You and I, we're revolutionaries. That's what it is. And I get your energy, and I'm totally with you.
Yeah, I know. I could tell by your traps more. I said that more right there be working.
Yeah. For sure. Now, more. What I'm saying is, when it comes to what you're saying, right? You're making some pretty vague claims, right?
Absolutely.
And when you do that, now you got to clarify. So, and we don't have
Yeah.
enough time to clarify. So I want to keep this right here. What are we talking about? Masonry, right?
Mhm.
We're gonna the next podcast, we're gonna talk a little bit about how Masonry is one of the culprits for the selling out, and then we can go into the subjects. But now we could go into other organizations because, as I spoke with Cujo, we're going to talk about every organization.
And let me put this out there.
Every organization.
I'm gonna keep it. The institution Masonry defends itself. I have yet to, you know what I'm saying? If they help sell out, that's on them. That's on those brothers. But I know the lodge I'm in, we don't get caught up in that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't function with no selling out because I don't care. You could be a more 5% of Nation of Islam. You're my brother, but I respect people's home. Your house is your house. I respect the rules in your house. You get what I'm saying? When you're in Rome, you do what the Romans do. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So who was that? Who was that right there? Who's that person? Royal Sun 617. Pete, please make sure he comes back with better information on Masonry. There are people who happen to be sellout. Now, this is what I'm trying to say, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Now, me and you, we the same, like I said. But this is what I need. When we get up here and start building in front of everybody, because we got almost 40 people on the live, and I'm pretty sure this video is going to do over 500 views. Right now, we have to make sure we give the people details.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, because the second sentence is the most important. There are people who happen to be sellouts. We need to figure out who are the sellouts.
Mm-hmm.
Like what you said, name the names. Name the names.
Whether consciously or unconsciously. Okay. So to bring it back on topic, we were talking about the Prophet Noble Joe Ali, and you just dropped the jewel. If y'all missed that, because I didn't know all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about Aaron Payne nor Clarence Payne. I didn't know about Green. I forgot. I don't know his first name. But Green, the Grand Sheik, who was the chauffeur, who was the driver for Julius, right?
Yeah.
That right there, bro. That right there, that's this whole podcast for me right today. Because if you look in that and then you start following the trail from that, I would say that would be your answer, or you'll be getting close. You'll be getting really close to your answer on who are the true sellouts in the Moorish organization. Right? Because what happens is, once we figure out who this Green guy is and what he did exactly, then we follow that trail from that point on. Because one thing I do know about all of our leaders coming up, the majority of them, I don't want to say the majority of them, I'm going to say a good amount of them were killed before their time. And when you cut the head off of an organization,
The body falls.
the body falls. So we have to figure out what happened with the prophet. How did he die? That whole what was the change in power? Was there a change in power? Was there a change in power? We got to talk about that. Also, the Nation of Islam. We'll go into all of that. But listen, man, what I've noticed about most organizations, even the organizations that I work with, as far as like the corporate world or what have you, there's always going to be corruption when humans are there.
Of course.
For whatever the reason is. Now, how do we fix this in our own community? Because it's so bad.
People need to fix their hearts, man. I'm telling you, it starts with the heart and the mind, man.
Mike, you're talking. I get you, and I love you for that. But you're talking, what you call it? What they used to call like the hippie talk.
No, it's not.
It's respect, because the heart. You know how many you got to fix the heart, man.
Not. You got to fix the heart. Let me tell you why I say fix the heart. A lot of people talk it, but they don't live it. Let the time start. They're not gonna do it. And I'm not gonna say too much of my personal life, but even when we was having issues with the police, this and that, in my young time, I've done it with I've done it with them, and a lot of people were talking when it came time to do it. These dudes curled up.
You're right about that, bro.
So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, fix the heart, because we could do 1,000 books. We could wear black, the sheikies and all that. When the time comes, when that first shot let off, you see how these these dudes turn into Gandhi, bro. I'm serious, man. It starts with the heart, and it's in my blood. Listen, my family, I know my history. It's in my blood, and it's always gonna be like that. It's in my blood, bro.
That's why when you go check the record of Noble Drew Ali's funeral, you see Aaron Payne standing there with the white gloves after all the dirt that he did to try to present purity, which that's Masonic. That's a Masonic ritual.
Wait, hold on. So Aaron didn't have like surgical gloves on.
No.
You mean he had like white gloves?
Like white gloves.
Okay. That's interesting, right?
And I'm gonna say this because I wasn't there, at the time, but I'm, going off based on the history. And as Brother Reeves said, we say the institution defend himself. Being that if he did do that, he's not no real brother. Because based on the principles of what Masonry teach, you get what I'm saying? Even if a person does not initiate, that is your brother, according to the universe. A brother, I don't care where you're from, you are my brother. If I gotta do certain things to you to get rid of you, and I don't see your vision out of fear, that is wrong. Yeah. That's so a person do that, he's not a real brother. He's not a real Mason. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'll put it.
Right. Okay. Now on that note, man, we do this at 1 hour.
Real quick, can I add? I'm sorry about that. Can I add on real quick? Quick, just about the because he had set up the heart, and I think he was asking what is one of the things our people will have to do to change how we are, and I think again, Noble Drew Ali nailed it with nationality. When I say that to say, because if we look at other nations, China, Hindustanian, all of these nations have principles. Like he said, these niggas, such and such, no, they niggas. Niggas don't have principles. We don't, so-called blacks, what's your principle? Cookouts? Soul food? What's the principles? Moors, we got principles, 5 principles. Moors, name them all quick. Bang. What's the principles of Negro, blacks, and colors? When we start thinking about Chinese people too, we might not know. We might not know for a Chinese person, but we start thinking like, oh, maybe it's Buddhism, peace. Yeah, see, so you do know. But when it comes to niggas, what's your principles? We don't have no principles to have any heart. You saying we need what's the principle? We don't have none. We niggas.
Yeah.
We don't have no heart. Niggas don't have heart. Moors have heart. Moors, people with nationalities have heart. People who honor their forefathers and foremothers have heart.
And that'll go to war behind their legacy and their last name.
Exactly. More. Exactly. More. When you don't have no principles, what are you standing on? What are you standing on? All they know is stands 10 toes down. They just know saying. They know sayings. They don't know nothing about real backbone principles. What are you standing on? What are you standing on? They have no idea. They know, the code of the streets. The hood says this. Come on, see?
What's the actual code of the streets?
The streets have no
What's the actual code?
That code is be thrown away.
That
code of the streets is always like it's
dog eat dog.
It's not based off of bloodline and national principles. It's something we just made up, like black, African American, colored. We just make this shit up and be thinking we standing on something. You ain't standing on shit. You ain't nothing. It's a bunch of made up fabrication. That's why I know nationality is the order of the day. You get everything. You get everything you wanted once you have a nationality. No nationality, statelessness. You're stateless. You have nothing. No principles. No honor. No heart. No. That's why that's why The Wizard of Oz is the most perfect movie ever.
Damn. We're gonna finish it off here because Mikey nailed it, and then you took the hammer, you drove it through. You got it, yo. We completely get it. Peace of Brother Youssef, Brother Cujo. We're gonna have them back on the podcast. We're gonna talk about it, but we'll be back on the podcast talking about the same subject. We're staying on a sellout subject. Sellout Mondays, 7 p.m. I mean 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Sellout Mondays. We'll be back. Not next week. Hopefully the following week. Peace to everybody.
Comment, like, share, subscribe. Peace.